Alright, take 8. This is Funky Monkey and Zella Live Star Dakota, and you're listening to the Slam Bam Wrestling Podcast Network. Welcome to the family. I hope that one's good.
Frightful, but the fire is so delightful. But as long as you love me so, let it podcast, let it podcast, let it podcast.
How long have you been working on that one?
About 30 seconds.
Yeah?
Hey, Alex.
What?
We need to talk about something before we start here today.
What?
I could only give you $20 and a hot dog for doing this podcast.
You're going to give me $20 for doing this podcast?
Yeah, only 20.
You're going to give me $20 for doing this podcast?
$20 for doing this podcast.
But I drove all the way here from Dubuque.
Well, you know, I can only give you $20, kid, because you got to pay your dues.
What about 25?
20's my final offer, brother. House a little light, you know, since we don't, you know. How's a little light here?
I tried to make some goddamn money on this thing last week. You won't let me sell my merch. You won't let me sell my information. I hate you. I quit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 94 of Off the Chest of Timothy Regal. This week is going to be a very special episode because Regal is spending the night for the first time, I believe, ever.
Yes, first time I've ever spent the night, slept in the McCarthy at Dell Square.
Well, it's not the first time you've slept here. You've fallen asleep during the podcast before. But it is the first...
Did I fall asleep during the podcast? I don't know.
At least once.
You... Well, to be honest, so have you.
I definitely have. I'm actually not sure if you have. It's not the first time he's slept here. But ladies and gentlemen, he's not sleeping tonight. We're not sleeping. Because it's going to be a marathon podcast. You've heard of telethons on your local TV station to raise money for AIDS or something. And we're raising money for Alex to get a new snow shovel. Because I broke my snow shovel. Shoveling Regal out to the driveway. And shoveling a path for Regal.
For AIDS or something.
Regal then proceeded to do what he does best. Knocked me over in the snow and proceeded to bury me. Because that's all he does in the wrestling business. He buries people. He buries people and he buries people.
I do bury a lot of people.
He does bury a lot of people.
I did not knock out.
But this week we're doing a marathon podcast. It is currently 8:22 p.m. And we're going to podcast all night long. We're going to be going until we leave for work at 7:30 tomorrow morning. And if school is canceled tomorrow, I'll go for another 12 hours because I am the marathon man of podcasting. I am the 7-star mind. I am the greatest podcaster on the history of planet Earth, Alex McCarthy, and I'm ready for a podcast. So I've only got one question for you, baby. Are you ready for a podcast? Woo! Where you're living?
Rick.
I'll talk to you later.
Please don't chop me.
Rick.
Give it, Rick. Well, Rick was here.
At least he didn't chop you this week.
He didn't chop me, but
I'm sure he'll be back.
I want to know where he's been.
He was walking with Elias.
Well, he was walking with Elias a little bit.
We watched.
Technically, last night.
Well, you know.
He was.
You know.
He was walking with Elias tonight on the WWE Network, even though they taped it last night.
Well, you know, everything is live in the WWE universe.
I think he. Well, I can't even say he wanted to go all night long with some of them ladies because he's got Wendy's now. I don't know.
He's married.
Yeah. Well, he's committed.
Oh, he's married.
They didn't actually get married.
What?
They had a commitment ceremony. It wasn't an actual, full marriage. They had a commitment ceremony.
What the hell kind of...
Where he came out to Ric Flair drip.
I can't believe that.
I mean...
Did you hear Tom Phillips made a Ric
Yes.
Flair drip joke on
Tom Phillips said, I thought Rick and Elias were going to do Ric Flair drip. That would have been amazing to me.
I would have lost my shit.
Yes.
No,
we watched the 1 hour of Starrcade, which...
I watched most of it. I was in the bathroom and Regal finished it without me.
Well, the show was over.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get on the action we got on the TV right now.
I don't give a fuck about the goddamn Packers.
The Green Bay Packers beating the crap out of the Minnesota Vikings.
It's tied.
Well, it's technically tied on the scoreboard, but we are firmly in a commanding lead right now.
I'm surprised.
Because
look at that.
We have Mason,
Aaron Rodgers was just sitting on the bench.
We have Mason Beck as our quarterback. That was Mason Beck, wasn't it?
Aaron Rodgers is just like, hey guys, go get me some drugs.
He looked a lot like Mason Beck. Do you know that?
He looks like a lot like a guy who wanted some drugs.
Oh Jesus! You spreading filthy, dirty lies about the greatest quarterback to ever play.
Filthy Tom Lawler.
No, do you know Filthy Tom had an MMA fight last night?
Yeah, did you watch it?
No, but I heard it was a good fight. But unfortunately, he did lose by unanimous decision on the judges.
But he made it 3 rounds.
But he did go.
You know who never made 3 rounds?
Chuck Waddell.
CM Punk.
Wow. Chuck Waddell. I'm going to talk about this for a minute. We've talked about him on the show before.
Oh, God. Okay.
Chuck Waddell last night took on Tito Ortiz in the main event of the first ever Golden Boy MMA event. Golden Boy, of course, the boxing promoting company ran by Oscar De La Hoya. And I seriously wonder who the hell Oscar De La Hoya bribed at the California State Athletic Commission for Chuck Waddell to get a license to fight. Because from what I've seen on the highlights, and I actually watched the fight on... I found the fight this morning. He had no business being in a cage at this point. The man can barely walk. It was It was terrible. It was ridiculous. They both of the people, both him and Tito Ortiz, didn't make their legacies better. They tarnished themselves by doing this fight. And I honestly think, especially after what we saw with Chuck Waddell, where he had no business fighting, I think this could become a watershed moment for MMA, and it's time for these companies that are trying to make a quick buck. These goddamn freak show fights gotta stop.
Yeah.
The show was poorly attended. It was. I'm gonna guess the buy rate numbers are not gonna be good on this event. It was on the Fight TV app. I believe it was on traditional pay-per-view as well. But the sad thing is, it looked like the undercard actually wasn't horrible. They had some guys I knew. It sounded like Filthy Tom had a really good fight. Unfortunately, he did lose. No. Why in the world is Chuck Waddell, who obviously, I mean, I saw, and I believe it was David Mixon's band, tweeted out, and I actually saw a couple people pretty much confirming this, and I watched the fight this morning, and again, I kind of agree. If you saw Chuck Waddell, the way he was moving around that cage last night, if you saw him walking, like, trying to cross the street, you would call the police because you thought there was a man with dementia, like, walking into traffic. It was that bad. These guys had no business fighting. Tito, maybe. Chuck has no business at this point being in a fight. And like I said, I think this is going to become a moment, a moment where there's going to be repercussions in the MMA world from this, because I think some things have to change. They've got to get better about not letting these types of fights happen.
I'm not having this discussion with him on Twitter.
Huh?
Nothing. Yeah, they're dumb.
But yeah.
Bettendorf Public Schools closed Monday. Margaret!
Blackhawk College closed.
You don't have school tomorrow. You don't. I still do.
For now.
But usually when one goes, they all go.
We should talk about this because the reason I am staying here tonight at the McCarthy Adele
is
Square
because
Garden,
you want to. Well, because you love us.
I do love you. And I appreciate the fact that you'll be staying here. For those of you who don't know, my shoot job is over in West Davenport, not very far from where Alex lives.
Could you refer to it as the McCarthy Adele Square Gardens instead of where I live?
The McCarthy Adele Square Gardens. Thank you. As opposed to my home, which is about 25 minutes away from here on a good day, over on up a very tall hill in Rock Island. So in order to get home and back to work, I would have to go down a huge hill, across a bridge, and up a hill in Rock Island that no matter where you go in Rock Island is in a storm like we are having right now is a pain in the ass to get up. If you're listening to this and you're not in the Quad City area, which there's a few people that might.
Matt Ritter lives in Des Moines.
But he knows the Midwest.
He does know
right
the Midwest.
now it is like we're in the midst of a November superstorm blizzard that I have like the likes of which I don't think I've seen in quite a long time.
Superstorm.
Yeah, it is. I can look out the back door of Alex's house right now from where I'm sitting and just watch the snow just come flying across from the fairgrounds.
It's a snowing and a blowing and a...
How would Dusty say it?
It's a snowing and a blowing, baby. Dang, I sound just like Dusty.
You do sound a lot
that was
like
a
Dusty.
really good impression.
Good impression of the dream.
Yeah.
But no...
I'm surprised he doesn't want to talk about Starrcade. Maybe he will later.
He might come in later.
Yeah.
He probably... You know who's out playing...
Eat him! Oh!
You know who's out playing in the snow?
Who? Yeah.
Dion Roosman.
The iceberg. My client.
Your client?
My client, the iceberg. Dion Roosman.
He's, Is he on the show Friday night?
He has not been announced for the show Friday night.
Well, you're not doing a very good job there, Professor.
You know?
Isn't that your job?
You know? That's none of your goddamn business, Regal, and I don't have to discuss my business with you or anyone else. I don't discuss my business for free. And that's part of the problem with goddamn independent wrestling. Is everybody's got to put their business out there on social media. They got to put it out there on a podcast. Keep your damn business to yourself, and we wouldn't have all these problems. Aria Blake.
Hey, you know who doesn't have that problem?
Who?
Brooke Valentine.
Why?
She's got the captain.
Yes, she does have the captain, and the captain doesn't put her business out on social media.
Our good friend,
he doesn't put his business out on social media.
Our good friend, the captain.
Yeah.
You see, the captain has officially docked the boat in Impact Pro Wrestling now as well.
Good. Yes. Good.
He is guiding the career of our buddy Matty Starr now.
What?
He's guiding the career of Matty Starr.
Yeah, I know.
But no.
Are we gonna talk about this thing?
Yeah. As opposed to making jokes about your...
I wasn't making a joke. I honestly do believe that if you consider yourself part of the business and you are in the business, you should not put your business on social media. I don't post my pay stub from the Davenport Community School Districts or the City of Davenport Parks and Recreation on social media, do I?
No. I do not post my paychecks from... My shoot job.
Everybody fucking knows you work at Walmart, Regal.
Well, yeah.
We've talked about it before.
Yes. I do not post my paycheck stubs from Walmart on my Twitter or my Facebook or my Snapchat. So
if you consider this your job, and see, it's such a fucking double-edged sword because a lot of them want like, I want to be in the business so bad, I want to make this my career, I want to make this my life, but then they don't treat it like a job. So I mean, in my opinion, and I'm not a promoter yet, and I've never run a show yet, but I just like promoters are the same way. They want to be professional when it's convenient to them, and then they want to be unprofessional when it's not convenient to them. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it really is,
I see it. I honestly kind of see it both ways, but I do think that like First of all, like, the whole thing was so-and-so got asked to go 11 hours for $40. And when he said he couldn't do that, the promoter said, what about 45? Then just say no.
I mean,
if the fucking Muscatine School District called me up and said, hey, Alex, we want you to move to Muscatine and teach day school, run our theater program, and coach 2 sports, and we'll pay you $5,000 a year, I'm just going to say, thanks for thinking of me, but no thank you. Plain and fucking simple. I'm not going to say, hey, those hillbillies in Muscatine tried to offer me $5,000 for a fucking full-time job plus night school and summer school plus 3 sports and a theater program.
Why they got to be hillbillies, man?
You've been to Muscatine.
I've been, well, I've hung out with Jared Thumb. So,
Jared Thumb's not even the original hillbilly from Muscatine.
No. I'm going to equate it to this way, and I'm going to talk about it from a wrestling standpoint. Obviously, Alex gave you the real-world comparison to it. First off, in the wrestling world, there's kind of an unwritten rule, and I'll use my personal favorite podcaster as a guide here. Bruce Pritchard has said on his podcast, he will not talk about money. He will not talk about how much money a person made. There is an unwritten rule in the wrestling business that you kind of don't talk either to the fans or even sometimes with the other people in the locker room about what you're getting paid.
You know, every job I've ever had, it's been a status of that's every job. That's not just wrestling.
And here's
you don't talk about your pay.
And here's the thing. And it's because that is a private matter between you and the promoter.
Right.
You and the promoter sit down, and the promoter says, here's what I am willing to pay you to wrestle on my show. And then you can either accept said booking and work for said rate, or you can decline and try to go someplace else to a different promoter who will pay you more money than what that is in line with what you believe you are worth. Again, I've said it before and I will say it again. Professional wrestling is a privilege, not your right. You are not guaranteed a professional wrestling booking if you are an independent wrestler anywhere. If you choose to say, well, I believe I am worth this much money, you either find a promoter who says, okay, I agree with you, or you don't wrestle. Or you say, well, okay, maybe I'm not worth what I think I am, and maybe I should reevaluate, and you work for a certain amount of money, and then you try to build your way up to where you were at. And I have been out of the promotion game for quite a while. But
when Regal was running promotion, he didn't fucking pay anybody.
I really wish you would stop saying that on podcast. Because that is not further from the truth.
It's not far from the truth? Is that what you said? You just said it's not far from the truth?
I just pulled a Sid, okay?
You carny
that is not.
It's not far from the truth. Regal
that is far from the truth.
Anybody.
I made sure every single person got paid on the show. Now, granted, especially if you're not traveling far, which a lot of the people that I promoted were not, $40 actually is not a bad going rate for a young, independent professional wrestler. A lot of guys who, if you're only going 2-3 hours and you're fairly new in the business, I'll say that $40 probably in line with what you're going to get paid.
I don't even like talking about this. I don't even think we should be talking about this.
I really don't want to, but I want to put it in perspective for people. Granted, the person in question, from what I've gathered, it was a very long drive.
Right.
Okay.
She said that 11 hours.
11-hour drive. For a $40 payday. So, okay. Here's what you can do. You can, again, decline and try to find a place closer.
You just say, no thank you.
Say no thank you. Or, how about this, kids? You take the booking. You go. You have a good match. You know what you do after that?
You increase your rate.
How about you go to the gimmick table with some 8x10s? Or some t-shirts. And try to sell. You said, okay, say you get some decent looking 8x10s made up if you're a decent looking young professional wrestler. You go to that gimmick table and charge $5 for an 8x10 with an autograph. You know what's going to happen? If 4 fans buy that 8x10, you just added $20 to your booking. You went up to $60. If 6 fans buy it, you go up to $50. 8 fans buy it, you just doubled your booking fee to $80. And that is kind of the tradition that this business has been ran on.
I've never understood why anybody would buy a fucking 8x10.
A lot of fans like 8x10s. I actually got a few at Starrcade. I normally don't buy 8x10s, but in order to get pictures with some people and stuff, I did buy a few.
I'm just seriously, I've never, ever, ever, I would never spend money on an 8x10. But what I would say is this. One thing I do want to add, because this is especially if you're young. First of all, part of your thing is that, you know, when I was first getting started, I was trying to go places. I would go places where I didn't know if I was going to be used, and I didn't. If you go somewhere uninvited, if you just show up, even if you manage to get on the show, that you can't expect that to mean that you're going to get paid. Because if they did not book you ahead of time, and I guess it's a little different if you're a worker, I guess, but I don't know.
I'm actually going to pull this.
What do you say? No. Do you agree with that?
I mean, if you're a worker, it is a little different, but I still think that it is what it is. Now, okay, so I'm actually gonna take this directly off of our good pal Merrick Brave, his Twitter account. Well, first off, I'm gonna read the tweet that Sammy Callahan puts out. Good money in any business doesn't come quick. People work internships for the opportunity to one day make the big bucks. Merrick Brave quote tweets this. Amen. Paying dues is an investment for your future. Seth Rollins and I would ride 6 to 8 hours just for the opportunity to set up rings for IWA Mid-South, knowing that eventually our hard work would pay off in the form of bookings. Even after getting on, we'd be lucky to make $20 a piece. And I will tell you, that is 100% gospel truth. And why do I know that? Because I was in the fucking van with them. And you know what?
Yeah.
Eventually they got on the show. And I will tell you this, I don't know if we might have covered this in the Merrick Brave interview. The first show that they worked, for IWA Mid-South, NWA No Limits, Merrick Brave and Seth Rollins, to the best of my knowledge, did not get paid. The second and third show they worked, they got paid. But not by the main promoter. I don't know if I shared this when we interviewed Merrick or not, and I'm going to go ahead and tell the story.
You probably shouldn't.
I'll just say it. As a employee of the company and helping out, I actually paid them for their second and third booking that they worked. After that, they got paid for the NWA No Limits shows. But yes, they went 5-6 hours to Muscatine
is not 5
to Muscatine. 5 or 6 hours to Indiana, to Highland, Indiana, and Merrick and Seth would set up the ring, tear down the ring, and we'd come home. And this was when they were still training, essentially. Trying to knowing that they were that once their training was completed, and once they started going, that the paying the dues would get in their bookings, and it did. It's a tradition of the business that you start out and you have to work at it, and I think that quote from Sammy says a lot. You know, if you want to go to work for a Fortune 500 company, if you want to be, you know, a marketing genius that makes $1 million a year, you're going to have an internship at a marketing firm when you're in college. You want to be a doctor? You know how much fucking work you're going to do to be a doctor before you even get your doctorate? To, you know, as an intern, as a medical student, you're going to college for 8 years, and half of that you're working for basically no money.
Well, okay. This is probably gonna. This is my philosophy. Has always been always work like you're getting paid, even if you're not, because that work ethic is gonna stay with you. I hate to say it, you have to treat independent if you want to make it. Now, okay, if you see this as a hobby, like I do, I see it as a hobby. I don't have any intention of going any further, really, than I am in professional wrestling. I've hit pretty much where I want to go. I don't ever see myself making a living on wrestling, which is fine. I have a full-time job. I have a career. I have a house. I'm fine.
You have a wife.
I have a wife. I don't make any money off of her, though, nor do I have to pay for her. She's an independent woman, Regal.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying you have you have other things outside of wrestling.
Yes. My point is, if you can't count, you have to treat it like a job, but you can't expect to make a living off of it. It takes a long, hard time to make a living off of independent wrestling, and I just want to start the episode over.
Why?
I don't feel like this is stuff we should be putting out there.
I think it's fine. I really do.
I really don't, because if there are fans listening to it, I don't think it's any of their business. I know most of the people that listen to our show are in the business, but
I think we're fine. I really do. Let's not spend too much time on this topic, but I think, you know, you can ask anybody that's been out there, like Chris Hero, and I'll just use some of the guys who've made a living as an independent wrestler. Chris Hero, Jimmy Jacobs, Sami Callihan, these guys work hard.
Yeah.
And I think if for guys that come into this business expecting that they're going to get a bunch of money paid to them, I just don't feel... If you're not doing this because you want to bust your ass to try to get to WWE or Impact Wrestling or New Japan or wherever, then
you shouldn't take a booking that's going to make you lose money.
Or and if you're don't waste your time.
No, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I think if you want this to be your weekend hobby, and you want to just work the locals, and you have a full-time job, and you have a wife and kids or something,
we're talking about two different things there. If you want to make a living on this, you have to work at it.
Right.
If you want to be what we call a weekend warrior and go out,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you have to decide what you are. And if you're trying to make a living, then you have to do the grind and you have to lose money for a long ass time. But if you want to, if you don't want this to be your living, then you have to be smart about it and don't take bookings where you're gonna lose this considerable amount of money.
And don't ever think that I'm saying that indie wrestling can't be a hobby, because it very much can. It is for you. It is for me. Some of the best guys that I've worked with in this business did this as a hobby.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite people I've worked with in the business did this only as a hobby. And I love them, dearly. And no, independent wrestling, at the end of the day, for me, has always been about having fun. But I also respect the guys who go out and make a living doing it.
Yeah.
You know, because they do work their butts off to do it. And I feel like this is just I hate to say this, but I feel like this is a case of millennial entitlement. I feel like there's just, and I've seen this in my day job. I've seen it in facets of life that have nothing to do with wrestling, that there's a lot of people in the world that feel very entitled. That just think they shouldn't have to work for stuff. Unfortunately. So I think that's kind of the situation. But yeah, so don't, hey, if you want to work at it, work at it. If you don't want to work at it, don't work at it. But be prepared for it either way.
Can we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. What else you got to talk
about? Fuck, I forgot.
How was
go ahead.
How was Beyond Wrestling?
It's good. I enjoyed it. I really liked just every match just felt good. It was like the right blend of good wrestling, like classic good wrestling, but also like with a little bit of indiness to it. Every match was a little different, and they all felt good. Isn't All Saints is in Davenport, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyways, no. So I thought it was a very good show. Do you want to talk about? We didn't talk about it last week because we did Pipe Dream. Do you want to talk about All Elite?
Yeah, we probably. I guess we could.
You do not want to?
No,
you don't like those guys?
Well, it's the thing of it's still very early in the process here. So, okay, so I'll summarize real fast.
And I have to be careful to remember what I know that's out there and what I've got from my sources.
I know
I've got some insider knowledge.
You've got some stuff that...
Did I tell you everything that he told me?
I don't think you've told me everything. You've told me some stuff.
Yeah.
Essentially, this rumor popped up around the time All In, actually.
Now everybody's going to fucking blow up my DMs and be like...
Yeah.
Oh, what do you know, Alex? What do you know?
Around the time of All In, it popped up that there was a potential of the Elite, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Marty Scurll, Kenny Omega.
It was only a couple weeks ago that the first rumor came out.
But, so maybe that was when I first heard about it. But
oh, you heard about it before that?
Well, yeah.
You hear about it from the same person I heard about it from?
I think so. But,
GF?
Yeah. Essentially, there were trademarks filed this week that appear to be more steam to the rumor that the Elite, members of the Elite, will be starting their own wrestling promotion with one of the owners of the Jacksonville Jaguars. These trademarks were filed, and the filing actually traced back to the address of the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes has already announced that Final Battle will be his final Ring of Honor booking. It looks like January 4th could be the final booking for several members of the Elite as members of the New Japan roster. And I think in early 2019, we will see where this is going. I know I have already followed. It's at AE Wrestling.
Yep.
Which I believe they had to register to get the trademark. But essentially, it's going...
You don't have to have a Twitter to get a trademark.
But I think they just did the Twitter so that they could get it. Essentially, it is going to be... The rumor is All Elite Wrestling. And it looks like there's going to be something with I know the trademark for All In 2 has been officially filed.
No. It was All Out.
There's trademarks for All In 2, All Out, and
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing was
Tuesday Night Dynamite.
Yeah. So there's some major stuff in the works, and it's going to be really interesting going forward in 2019 to see where the wrestling world is going to shake out. I think if they can get a TV, and they were on WGN, and it did big numbers.
It did.
And now granted, that was a time buy.
Yes.
So, but if WGN wanted to get into the wrestling game with
They're already in the wrestling game.
Well, they're already, Ring Warriors I have not watched it, but I've heard it's terrible.
I thought the production quality was good.
I've heard the production quality is good. I've heard the in-ring was
the match I saw was okay, but it was literally just one match. It was Wes Briscoe and Austin Aries, and we both know that those are two very capable athletes.
Yeah. But I feel if they want to get into the wrestling game with WGN, or if they have some other TV partner, if they have TV in general, I think if they can get on TV, if they can make this work, I think there's definitely potential here. There's enough. Now the question becomes, where do they find talent?
I mean, if they have Khan with them, I think it's basically a who do you want? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the thing of also, are they going to work with Impact, or are they going to work with MLW? Are they going to work with New Japan or Ring of Honor? The company right now, who I think really is the company that is sitting in a really bad spot, actually, if the dominoes fall a certain way, is Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Because if you lose Cody, the Bucks, Marty, Hangman, you lose those are essentially, that's your biggest drawing act.
Right.
In Ring of Honor. So there you're cut off from that. And then if this other company starts having success and other guys' contracts start coming up, and you've got WWE courting your guys, you've got All Elite Wrestling courting your guys, you've got New Japan or Impact. I mean, they work with New Japan as it is, but you've got Impact wanting talent. Ring of Honor could really be the company that comes out of this just getting blade jobbed. And I hope it doesn't happen. I'm a pretty big fan of Ring of Honor, but that's kind of the one that I see being really, really potentially in trouble by this deal. Because obviously they're losing 5 top talent, plus possibly more.
I think this was out there. I'm not sure that the company was trying to negotiate with New Japan.
Which
if they could successfully get New Japan and take that away from Ring of Honor is hurting bad.
Yeah,
Ring of Honor is hurting bad if they lose all those guys and they lose their ability to New Japan. What does that mean for the Madison Square Garden show in April?
Yeah,
I mean,
you sold out this Ring of Honor show. I think you'll still have it because it is called G1 Supercard. I don't think they'll lose their New Japan right away.
No, I think they'll still have the Madison Square Garden show, but I think that could be one of the last Ring of Honor New Japan co-promoted shows. I'd be curious to see what they have under contract. And Davenport Schools is canceled for tomorrow, by the way. So, I'm off tomorrow.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Alex gets a free day off work tomorrow.
That's right. I could see this being bad for Impact if they don't have their guys under contract. Although I think they have a lot of their guys on a kind of a priority booking contract. But, I mean, long term, I think it's going to hurt places like Impact. It's going to hurt places like Ring of Honor. It's going to hurt places like MLW. Because even if you have these guys under contract, when that contract expires, how can you in good conscience look at them and say, hey, I can't offer you the same money as Shahid Khan, who's worth $7 billion, but I can offer you the same thing you've been making or a little bit more than you've been making.
The other big thing is...
Because you can't compete with that.
And the big thing as far as Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny are concerned is essentially if they get to run the show, they're getting what their biggest thing has been since day one is they wanted the creative freedom to do things their way.
Well, I imagine Cody is probably going to be head of creative.
I would think so. I mean, he's along with a guy like Jimmy Jacobs. Cody Rhodes essentially, to me, is a wrestling genius at this point.
I mean, it's in his genes.
He understands the business,
right,
in a way that a lot of people just can't even realize.
Right. I mean, he's openly tweeting that he's having scouting meetings.
Yeah, I mean, he's. Did you see them being the Elite? Where
no.
Okay, because the whole storyline on being the Elite is that they are. They keep teasing that they're going to the WWE.
Right.
And they actually did a gimmick where Cody Rhodes went into convulsions and then just started giving a bunch of random facts about the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
And I think it was right about SmackDown or something.
Sure.
It was pretty funny. But no, it's obvious that they are they're going with this All Elite Wrestling. The rumor potentially Jim Ross is involved in this, which Ross said. Ross and Chris Jericho were asked about it, and they had originally said that they were not running the company. Now, I'll say this. They said they weren't running the company.
Right. Well, and then Ryan Satin reported earlier this week that it looked like theirs may have just been more of a... They were interested in them as talents.
And I do find it convenient timing that Jim Ross's Access deal is now over.
And what, his WWE deal is up in March?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. It's gonna have huge impact on wrestling, and no pun intended, and I think part of me says this is a good thing. Part of me says more opportunities is a good thing. Part of me says competition for WWE is a good thing. But I just think about what it would take for anybody to be competitive with WWE in 2019. Look at the size of the empire. You're going to need considerable TV. You're going to need a considerable streaming platform.
Well, here's what I've said. And I'll reiterate it. Will there ever be another Monday Night War era ratings war, two companies, one fighting to be number one? Honestly, I hate to say this, but no.
Probably not. I mean, significant things would have to change. And then something that I wish we could have got our buddy Gary Freeland on this week. Something he and I were talking about is if it gets to be too much, Vince McMahon has a clause in a contract that he can sell.
Yeah.
For a lot to the Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
and maybe this level of competition pushes him to sell.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Imagine being a woman on that roster and having him sell the company to the Saudi Arabians.
Let's sell the company to a guy who ordered that we kill a journalist.
Is the game over?
No, it's halftime.
Then why did they do the
They do that at halftime.
They do why?
I don't know why.
That was like the end credits.
No, the game is not over. It's halftime. But
that's like when that happens on NXT TakeOver. You're like, oh shit, keep watching. Something's about to happen. Right? Am I wrong?
No,
not wrong.
You're not wrong. But no, I don't think we'll get the Monday night, the ratings war where this company's, trying to usurp WWE like WCW did. But I feel like, can we get a solid number 2 promotion that draws a decent TV rating and gives guys
another full-time place to work?
I'll say this.
Yeah.
If anybody can do it,
yeah,
it's going to be these guys.
I agree. Another thing.
We've already did it. We did it for one night. Can we do it week to week or month to month or whatever?
Well, and it all comes down to, and we haven't even talked about the NWA, but this is something that Dave Lagana and Billy Corgan have tapped into. It all comes down to storytelling. And that's one thing that the Bucks and Cody and them have done incredibly well. So my question is, does this pressure from the Khans, and Cody and the Bucks and this potential All Elite Wrestling, does this get WWE to play ball with more than just, Progress, WWN, and ICW? Are they looking at more companies stateside to play ball with? Are they looking at companies in Japan to play ball with? Are they looking at companies in Mexico to play ball with? To basically just say, we're going to give you a little bit of ability to employ more guys and keep more guys under contract to keep you from going to this legitimate competitor.
I mean, we've heard rumblings that they want to get into Latin. WWE wants to get in. They being WWE pronouns, pal. WWE wants to get into Latin America.
I mean, could a partnership with? Well, could a partnership with? That looks bad. Yeah. Could a partnership with AAA or CMLL or one of the smaller indies in?
Well, CMLL already works with New Japan Ring of Honor.
Right. But I imagine with this, once this deal comes into,
AAA is actually working with Impact.
That's true.
So
and MLW. Well, no, MLW is working with. Roosh is from CMLL, isn't he?
Okay, so MLW doesn't have a deal with anyone. Roosh is from CMLL. Pentagon and Phoenix
are from AAA.
And Puma King are from AAA. Puma Daga. King is actually a freelancer.
Okay.
And
Daga is a freelancer too, isn't he?
Daga is now a freelancer, and actually Pentagon and Phoenix, I believe, are now freelancing as well because they have done some CMLL shows. And I know CMLL and AAA are actually doing a little bit of exchanging talent on their own in Mexico. So yeah, the Mexicans, and I don't really follow the lucha scene much, but from what I've read, that situation's gotten very interesting because you're actually having some CMLL, AAA working together. Now,
anyway you slice it, 2019 is going to be fucking wild.
2019, I actually tweeted that out. 2019 in wrestling it's going to get wild here. It's going to get really interesting. You've got All Elite Wrestling potentially. I'm not even going to say potential at this point. It's becoming a thing. Impact is doing great shows, but they're doing them in front of 500 people. MLW sold out a goddamn 4,000, probably 3,000 people in Chicago.
Yeah.
Already announced a return date.
Yeah. 2,000 maybe.
Yeah, they're being smart They're being smart. MLW is doing stuff very intelligently.
Well, look at who's running that company. Yeah. It's all ex-WWE creative people. It's Court Bauer, who is honestly probably one of the most underrated minds in wrestling when you look at who he learned from. He was in creative for the prime Dusty Rhodes era. He was mentored by Gary Hart. He was brought into the business by the fucking Samoans. Court Bauer is probably, when you could look at all the people he's worked with and all the things he's done, he's probably one of the most underrated minds in wrestling. And also, the other thing is, you look at the early 2000s when he first ran MLW, he was smart enough to fucking know when to get out.
Yeah. And we haven't even talked about as far as 2019 goes. You've got all this stuff going on in the Indies. You've got stuff, obviously, New Japan possibly looking at losing some of their top people, possibly looking at gaining back some top people.
Possibly.
And then we haven't even touched on the surface of by this time next year, WWE is going to look very different than it does right now.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. You have a situation coming at the end of September in 2019 where Raw is no longer the A show.
Right.
SmackDown is going to be the A show because it's going to be on the Fox network.
Right.
Which is on network television week to week.
Yep.
And not like when they were on UPN, which only, random areas got.
Right.
Like, we did not have a UPN affiliate in the Quad Cities.
Either.
Yeah.
I think they showed it I think I found it once at 2 a.m. on my WB affiliate, though.
Channel 8, actually, used to show it Friday nights
I didn't live here then.
Yeah. Channel 8 used to show it when we didn't have UPN at first. Channel 8 used to show it Friday nights at 10:30, I want to say.
That's not bad.
Because I remember I would watch it. That's how I'd watch the show. But so yeah,
2018 is gonna be so fucking wild.
SmackDown becomes the A show. You have Raw on USA. Do you think
SmackDown becomes the A show?
Oh, I think.
Or do you think it becomes a commercial for Raw on the
network?
No,
absolutely not. Because here's the thing: SmackDown is going to Fox,
right?
Obviously, the Fox network.
Yeah.
Raw is staying on USA, which is owned by NBC.
Yeah.
So here's what's happening: the brand split becomes more real than it is right now.
Or do they get rid of the brand split so that they can tell stories on both shows?
I don't think you get rid of the brand split.
Because if they keep the brand split and you can only see... How do you think Fox feels about paying for half of the roster, though? Paying for half of the stars? You either kill Raw or you are giving Fox not your best lineup.
So you think they're going to have the brand split?
I think the brand split almost has to end. I think that's going to be one of the tough decisions that they have to make. They've already cut brand-specific pay-per-views. And the thing is they're not presenting their content as best as they could be. They have a network, and they have YouTube, and they have Twitter, and, essentially I could see... I don't know. It's just... SmackDown's going to still be 2 hours, right?
I believe so, yes.
They want SmackDown to have a more sports-like...
Yeah.
presentation.
Yes.
So what I would do is SmackDown would just be matches, and if you wanted storylines, interviews, angles, anything like that, I would be doing that on the network. I would be doing that on Raw. I'd be doing that on social media. First thing I think I'd do, bring back Talking Smack.
100%. You literally just took the words right out of my mouth. 100%, absolutely. You're bringing back Talking Smack when it goes to Fox. And here's why. Again, you're on network TV, and you're saying, especially if they do want the more sports, where you're going to have less interviews, you're going to have stuff like that. What you do? Why do you have Talking Smack? Hey, by our network, we do this. You tune in on Talking Smack after the show and get to see this, and this.
Yeah.
Basically, being on network TV drives that many more eyes to your over-the-top streaming service.
Right.
So, absolutely, 100%, yes, you're bringing back Talking Smack here. Another thing, and this is still rumored, we haven't had a confirmation, we also have not heard of it, it's not happening yet, is the potential of NXT going to Fox Sports 1.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
See, I hope it does.
I don't get Fox Sports 1.
Well, you still keep it on the network, or you still have it on Hulu.
If it's on the network, it's probably going to be at least a month delay, like Raw and SmackDown are, though.
Well, or there's the Hulu. There's Hulu as well, where it's on the next day.
Oh.
Either way, NXT needs to be 90 minutes, if not 2 hours.
I would hope 2 hours is too long.
Dude, you've got EC3 not doing anything right now. You have Keith Lee working 30-second squash matches. You've got Matt Riddle. You've got Cassius Ohno. The rumors are abound that Shane Strickland is coming in January.
Or is he going to AEW?
Who knows? Because it looks like because they did air the match from Chicago this week.
I watched it.
And the way they presented that on TV was that looked pretty legit.
Yeah.
That he walked out of MLW. So it looks like he's going someplace. We may not know where yet. But Shane Strickland is definitely going someplace in 2019. And any company in the world would do themselves well to get a guy like Shane Strickland.
Yeah. The other thing we're getting in 2019 is rugged pro wrestling.
Dude.
That's gonna influence the local independent scene.
Have you checked in? How's our buddy the Cougar Hunter?
Oh, he got hurt.
I saw that he got injured.
I don't know.
So
I hope he's...
get well wishes to the Cougar Hunter, Austin Fouts.
If not, Austin, I've got my gear ready. I can step in for you. I can be the appealing part of Flex Appeal. I can team up with Tyler.
You are definitely not appealing. Well, I mean, to Margaret you are, but wow, Alex is flexing, folks. It's not pretty. He's showing off the guns.
How do you think a service like Power? Hypothetical, AEW shows up. They have their own over-the-top streaming service. How does a company like Powerbomb sustain?
Do
you think they have a unique enough audience that they can survive?
I think they do. I actually watched Nova Pro on Powerbomb.
Yeah, how was that?
On Friday. Great. Got to see a lot of East Coast guys that I'd only heard of or maybe seen once. Saw a couple
I feel
kids.
like I'm relatively in touch with the East Coast scene because I watch a lot of Beyond.
Saw a couple kids. Nova Pro is in Virginia.
So it's a little bit of East, it's a little bit of Southern.
It's a little bit of East, you get a little bit of the Southern Indies. So
yeah.
It's a really interesting place. Obviously, one of the main reasons I was watching is they have our boy the Iowa Hawkeye Steve Manders. Steve Manders was in a 5-way, victorious in a 5-way.
Yeah.
Also in that 5-way was a guy we're a fan of, the Warhorse Jake Parnell.
Big fan of Jake Parnell. He was on Beyond yesterday.
Yes, he was.
And today, I believe.
No, so yeah. And obviously they have Powerbomb TV has done a hell of a job since they started of making themselves viable. Because they came about in that era where you had High Spots starting their own service. Flow Slam was actually a thing.
Flow Slam was great. I was very happy with Flow Slam while I had it.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Well, you know. Flow Slam was a thing. You had Powerbomb. You had High Spots. So the first wave of wrestling streaming services for the indies. And Powerbomb, a lot of people said when they started, it's like, are they going to be able to compete? Are they going to have enough... Are they going to have enough content?
Because I had it for a while and I didn't like it. I had problems every time I tried to stream a show.
Thankfully for me, I have a Roku. They have a Roku app that actually is very good. And I've had almost no problems running it. They were smart. They went out and got Beyond Wrestling.
Yep.
Which is probably... Would you say it's top 5 for sure? Top 5 independent wrestling promotion in the country?
Top 10 for sure.
Top 10 for sure.
It's hard to like what's considered an independent anymore.
I
don't consider Impact an independent. I don't consider MLW an independent.
MLW is not independent. Impact's not independent. Ring of Honor is not independent. AEW is an independent. PWG is an independent. Beyond's an independent. CZW is an independent. Game Changer Wrestling is an independent.
You probably just listed the top 5.
But basically.
Well, I don't know about CZW.
CZW not in the top 5. Your top 5 are AAW, PWG.
Where does St. Louis Anarchy stand in that?
Well, they're on Powerbomb. I wouldn't put them in the top 5, but they're... And they only run a show every couple months, so...
Yeah.
But you have, your top 5... I would say, I'll just throw out the 5 names right now. Your top 5 are AAW, PWG, Game Changer Wrestling, Beyond Wrestling, and then... I'm trying to think of who the 5th one would be. Help me out. Chikara? I mean, Chikara is such a niche product, though.
Yeah.
But Powerbomb recently made the deal with Chikara, and they actually had their second Chikara live stream yesterday for the Cibernetico. And it looks like that's going to continue going forward. They're adding a bunch of the seasons of the Chikara back catalog. So that... having Chikara on there, especially having old school Chikara for a guy like me, where you get the Kings of Wrestling era and all that, is I'll go back and watch all that because it's great stuff. You have Beyond Wrestling, that's awesome. Nova Pro puts on really good shows, and they're on there. Freelance Wrestling is on Powerbomb.tv.
They're a great independent.
Great independent. So you've built up a list of companies. C4 Wrestling, which is a great one out of New York, out of like the Niagara Falls area.
What about Smash or Alpha One?
Smash has their Alpha One is on Powerbomb. Smash actually has their own streaming service.
They seem to do pretty well.
Which they seem to do pretty well. No, Alpha One is on Powerbomb, and they're one of their great shows out of Canada that are ran by Josh Alexander and Ethan Page. So. You have this. I also want to say Smash might be on the Global Wrestling Network.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, but you have these companies that Powerbomb was able to go out and get. Obviously, for High Spots, you have the PWG stuff. You have High Spots has PWG. They have AAW, CZW. They have. PWX out of the Carolinas. So you've got a lot of good stuff there too. Bar Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Revolver. The one that's weird is Game Changer Wrestling.
Yeah.
Because they are not on a streaming service.
But they're usually on Fight, aren't they?
They're putting more and more of their shows on Fight TV, but they are still going with the you have to pay per show to buy our product. But the thing is, Game Changers created so much buzz, they can do that.
Yeah. Well, their shows are also kind of niche, to be fair.
And yeah,
I could see why they wouldn't be put on a streaming service.
Your shows are not all deathmatch shows, but you have... Generally, you're going to have about one deathmatch per show. You're going to have some comedy. Game Changer is... I don't even know a good word to describe Game Changer. Eclectic?
Yeah.
Game Changer is very eclectic.
It's a good word.
And I enjoy Game Changer Wrestling immensely. I know there are people that don't. Not going to mention the names of certain people that I've talked to privately that were very vocal in their hatred of Game Changer Wrestling. So it is a product that is not for everybody. I happen to love it. I think those shows are so much fun to watch. I mean, obviously, they're not without controversy. That's especially after the last one.
Right.
But if you believe Uncle Eric, controversy creates cash.
Absolutely.
So there's that going on for him. But no, I think, it's really interesting. Like, where does Powerbomb fall? If I don't know if I guess go back to your original question because we kind of tangented there for a second. For Powerbomb TV, I don't think a lot changes for them. Like I said, if anybody gets blade jobbed here, I think it's going to be Ring of Honor. maybe Impact.
Yeah.
Those are the two companies that I think really, really need to worry about All Elite Wrestling.
All right. We good?
I think we're good.
All right. Let me tell you something, baby.
Dust.
You know who's not going to be affected by All Elite Wrestling?
You?
Pearly Gates Championship Wrestling.
Nah, because you got there's certain requirements.
Well, I talked to Cody.
Oh, okay. You did?
It's because it's not that thing, Regal. It's the other thing. I talked to Cody, and I said, Cody, my son, you're not going to take anybody that I want to book, are you? And he said, Dad, you want to book somebody, you just take them. This is the people I got my eyes on, Regal.
Oh, really? Who got your eye on?
I can't tell you that.
Oh,
I gotta
okay.
see. You know, baby, I'm the booker. I'm in charge, but I'm not in charge. I got supervisors.
Oh, you got the big man.
The big man upstairs, if you will. Vince McMahon Sr.
Hey,
no, I'm just kidding.
How's Corey doing? I haven't talked to him.
Who?
Corey?
That. Hey.
Corey Macklin?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, baby. 4 inches.
Did he bring
We
you
don't
some
talk.
yellow?
We don't talk. You want me to tell you the finish of this game?
The Packers are going to win?
You want me to tell you the finish?
Let's finish.
I know. I'm all knowing now.
The Packers are going to win, right?
It's going to be a draw.
I hope not. We had one of those earlier this season.
The second, they both had a draw, didn't they?
We drew against each other.
They did.
Yeah, Green Bay, Minnesota. Hey, Dusty, man, what you think of this weather?
It's all right. I can get around okay in it.
They don't have this in Texas.
No, they don't have it in Texas. They don't have it in Pearly Gates Championship Wrestling either.
No.
It's
The
always
weather's always good and sunny up there.
It's always sunny in Pearly Gates Championship Wrestling.
But,
that should be a TV show. I should have wrote a TV show. You write a TV show called "It's Always Sunny in Pearly Gates Championship Wrestling."
Hey, what do you think of Starrcade?
It was okay. I thought there should have been some color and maybe a dusty finish too. I'm with Primetime Wrestling today. I thought there should have been a couple dusty finishes.
Did you see our boy Seth Rollins came out with your T-shirt on?
Of course I did.
Hey, you want his T-shirt?
I saw I was on his T-shirt. Why am I not on your T-shirt? You got that ugly ass Green Bay Packers T-shirt on.
Because my team's playing, Dusty. Be like if your Dallas Cowboys was playing.
My Dallas Cowboys kicked your Green Bay Packers ass.
I don't think that happened this season. We didn't play.
What?
That was last season.
Well,
I'm not actually the Packers won that game.
Why don't you shut the hell up, Regal?
I'm sorry.
How could Rick come in here and chop your ass?
Can you get Rick to come in? We gotta talk to Rick.
Chop your ass?
No, I don't want to chop.
I'm a chopping in and dropping in the elbow, stopping in. No, I'm a chopping in and dropping in a mud hole stomping. American Dream.
I like
you
that.
You like it when I raps.
I like that when you was in that Pipe Dream Pounce.
The Pipe Dream Pounce. Deep. Hey,
can you go grab Rick?
Woo!
Rick, don't leave.
Don't you ever interrupt me again. God damn it, Regal.
Damn it. Please stop chopping me. Rick.
Regal.
Rick.
You interrupted him.
I was excited.
I had him back twice.
I was excited.
We got him back twice.
I want to know where Rick's been. Obviously, we know he was walking with Elias, but, you know, where's he been? What's he doing? I want to know. I think the people want to know.
I have had people asking me on the streets.
Where Rick is?
It was Chris Angle, so I don't know if that really counts.
Yeah.
But, Chris Angle Sr.
Chris Angle Jr. might listen to the podcast, too.
No, his dad does not allow him to listen to the podcast. And that is some good parenting right there, by the way. You should not let your kids listen to this podcast.
Don't let your kids listen to me. That's generally good advice.
Keep your children as far away from Regal as possible, please. And watch out for that squirrel. Oh, sorry.
Hey, can we talk about our girl Kylie Ray winning the AEW title?
Yeah, big shout out to Kylie Ray. I think in honor of Kylie Ray winning the.
He caught them all.
in honor of her, and you know what Kimberly caught? Those hands. In honor, and
I wasn't going there, but
I have prepared something. I talked to somebody, and I have a very special guest who's gonna prepare something in honor of Kylie Rae winning the AEW Women's Championship.
What do you got?
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real task, because I'm the American dream. AEW Women's Championship, gotta catch it, a heart so true. The dream will get you through. I booked it and it came true. Kylie Rae. Gotta win that championship. Gotta win that championship. Kylie Rae. What are you laughing at, Regal?
I'm not laughing at nothing, Dusty.
You didn't like that?
No, I thought that was great.
You want me to do the plugs?
Let me do the plug. You know,
Was Margaret on it this week?
No, I don't think she. No, she's in the other room.
I thought she came out once.
Well, she wasn't. That was before the podcast. She wasn't on the podcast. This week.
She wasn't on this week?
No.
I like that Velvet Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here we go, baby. If you want to follow, you should follow Margaret anyways, because she's a sweet girl and she's funny. She's funnier than either of your asses. At Bell's in the cell. Is that John Cena?
Yeah, that's John Cena.
John Cena's a Transformer.
He's not a Transformer, but
how do you know?
He's hunting.
Wouldn't that be a hell?
I've seen the trailer.
Who's that? Who's that girl?
Haley Steinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld?
No, Haley Steinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld had a sex change. What's been going on down here?
No, Dusty, no.
What?
Calm down, Dusty.
If I was booking Transformers, Regal, this is what I would do.
Hey, Dust.
What's going on?
I got a big question for you.
Can I finish my story?
If you was booking the Transformers.
If I was booking the Transformers, this is what I would do. There's another Transformer. And his name is John Cena! Boo boo doo boo!
Hey, Dust.
What?
You gonna be at Hulkamania Saturday?
I'm gonna be at Hulkamania Saturday night. I'm gonna be taking shots with tequila with Meg Brave and Pat Angerer.
Yo, that would be something. Dusty and Merrick Brave doing tequila.
Alex McCarthy did tequila with Merrick Brave and Pat Angerer last time. But this time I'm gonna steal his shot. You know what Alexander Hamilton said?
What?
I would not throw away my shot.
Okay.
He was a drunk. I'm just kidding. I don't know about that. You want me to do the plugs?
Yeah, let's do the plugs. Get out of here, Dusty.
You did like my song?
No, I love your song. It was great.
All right, baby. Follow Margaret at Bells in the Cell. Follow Alex at One Real Smart Alex. Follow Regal at SCW Regal 444. Follow the podcast at Off the Chest TR. Like the Slam Fam Wrestling Network on Facebook. Follow at Slam Fam Wrestling on Instagram. And follow at Slam Fam Wrestling WREST on Twitter. Did I get them all right?
You got them all right?
I think that's the best I ever done the plug.
Bobby.
I want a raise, baby. I need $45. I don't need no $40.
You're the dream. You're getting 45.
All right, baby.
Folks, don't forget this Saturday night, Hulkamania. Pat Anger getting in the ring, teaming up with Steve Manners, taking on JT or Giassi. We will see you at the show.
But before that, baby, we'll see you Friday night at 3XW Winter Wars 3 with former WCW star, my Cody's friend, Glacier. If you're going to be there, Regal, I can't believe you forgot about that.
Oh, I did.
You gonna ride with them Japanese boys?
I might.
All right, we'll see you at the show, baby.
All right.